Hello runners! So good to see you. I'm really happy that you decided to join me today. We're going to be going through a short sequence just to kind of help you post run and try to recover a little bit from that intensity and ideally lead you to feeling better tomorrow and in the next day following. So what we're going to be doing over this next little bit here is again just as a way to offer some relief. So don't worry if something's not feeling good in your body. I don't want you to do it. So my body's a lot different. I'm not a runner, although I do know what it's like to feel the pain that comes along with running. So as we move today, again, don't feel like you need to be a certain place. I do recommend that you have a strap if you have one. If you don't have one, that's okay. A band or even a belt will work just fine. And you may not even need it today for what we're doing. And then a block is really great. So this is fine. If you have a block, that's great, but if you have a blanket or a pillow, that's also just as helpful, okay? So really nice, especially for you runners, because we're quite tight in those hamstrings. So we're going to get started, and so I'm going to encourage you to actually sit up on your block, and whatever that looks like for you, your block, your blanket, and you're going to come into a seated position. So what you're going to notice is that elevation of the hips just avoids that kind of cause to come back from those tight hamstrings, so it gives us the ability to lift and lengthen a little more. Now I'm going to invite you to find a butterfly position, which means your feet are be further forward than they're used to. Quite often we pull the heels in. It's not wrong, it's just not what we're doing today. This will pull us a little bit more into the hamstrings. So I want you to take your hands on tops of your shins. Take a nice big breath in with me. And then as you exhale, I want you to just slowly let your head be heavy and your hands are just gonna slide down to wherever you can breathe comfortably. Now, if you're starting to feel some feedback and resistance from your hamstrings already, you can go ahead and shorten that stance until you're no longer receiving that not so pleasant information. So your head is gonna be heavy. And then I'm going to invite you to maybe walk your hands a little bit further forward. You might actually prefer to scoop them underneath and grab the tops of your shins. It really doesn't matter as long as you're breathing here with me. So let's take 5 deep, deep breaths. Inhaling into the back of your body. And exhaling, just maybe softening a little bit more, letting that head be totally heavy. Now, in any position, we want to make sure that we're, again, as a reminder, maintaining that breath in and out through your nose. Now, on your next inhale, we're going to slowly go ahead and roll ourselves up. And from this position, you're going to take your left leg and bring it straight forward. Now, in this position, you're going to go ahead and bend into your right knee. But don't do it so much that your hips start to turn. So you're gonna take your time and then we're gonna walk our hands and walk them towards the left toes. Now here is where you're welcome to go ahead and use that strap if grabbing the toes is not quite feasible for you today. But even that, you don't need it. You can take your hands and just start to frame that left leg and gently pull in a way that allows for a little more length into the back of it. Now we're gonna hold here, taking 5 deep breaths. Now your toes are actively pulling back, and almost imagine like there was a magnet between your big toe and your sternum right in the center of the chest. So it's a lengthened position. Do that with me for a second and notice when you round back a little bit what happens to the quality and the stretch. And then notice what happens when you lengthen the heart forward, perhaps even adding a soft little bend into the knee. Yes, I said bend your knee to get a better stretch. I know we always think straighter is better, and it's definitely not the case. So let's take one more deep breath. And then we'll inhale slowly, coming all the way up. Now we're gonna just switch that right away into the second side. Right leg comes forward, left knee bends, and you're gonna square your hips off to the front. So take your time walking your hands forward. And then when you start to feel that slight bit of hesitation with the breath, that's where you know that you've started to play with that edge. So I recommend closing down your eyes. Then really working with this as you inhale to feel more length and space in your spine. And then as you exhale, we may hinge a little bit deeper. You may pull your heart forward a little bit more, all depending on where you are within your body. Keep breathing here for one more. And then you're gonna inhale, slowly come all the way up. Now at this point, if you are with me up on a block, I'm gonna get you to take that block away and throw it off to the side for now. So what we're gonna do is actually bring the hands behind your back. Now you're gonna take your time, you're gonna bend into your left knee, and you're gonna take your right foot and you're gonna hook your left heel. So we're all quite probably familiar with this, doing this on our back. This will give us a little bit more intensity, so know that if it feels too much, you can take yourself down onto your back. Now do this with me. Walk your hands quite closely in towards the low back, and then push away from the floor and take a second here. Notice what happens when you just hang out and then really push down and feel the difference in the quality of the stretch. Now we're gonna hold here, lifting and lengthening. So my right foot, the toes are pulled back, you're in that dorsiflexion, you're pushing down, and that's going to enhance the way you feel that stretch into the right hip. This shouldn't feel comfortable, but it shouldn't feel painful. We're gonna take 2 more deep breaths. Softening through those shoulders. We'll take 1 more here. And then now you're gonna lean back just enough that you can go ahead and straighten through that left leg. And then you're gonna grab a hold of the shin, big breath in, and then we exhale, hinge forward. So if this is feeling too much, then go ahead and work just where we were with the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. The most important thing here is that we're patient and we're kind to ourselves through this position. And you runners need to be really accountable. You're hard on your body. So I know that it can be really frustrating to come into some of these stretches, but just really embrace the fact that you're doing something so good for your body and offering it that well-deserved stretch. 1 more breath. And then we're gonna inhale slowly, take our time and come all the way up. So hands will come behind the back. You'll straighten through that right leg, and then we'll go ahead, bend the right knee, lean back enough that you can hook that left foot, and then we'll lift up nice and tall. So again, you can be on the fingertips. All you wanna make sure of is that you're not leaning back into it. As you push your chest up, from pushing your palms, I should say, you should feel the ability to press into both your feet more. And yes, I mean even that left leg. That's a very important part of that foundation, and we're breathing here. Take 2 more breaths. I know it's a very tight position. I'm not even a runner and I can relate to this one. Take 1 more deep breath. And then slowly lean back a little bit, straighten through your right leg, and then you'll bring your hands to that left shin. So we're gonna inhale, lift up really nice and tall. As we exhale, we're gonna hinge forward. And we're only going to the point where we can keep those toes pulling back. We're lengthening the heart forward, and then we're breathing deeply here. Two more breaths. One more here. On your next inhale, we're gonna slowly take your time and roll all the way up. So nice little way to counter that is just bringing your feet a little bit wider, even a mat width apart, and then just rocking side to side. Now you'll still notice that I'm not slouching into the position. I'm really lifted and lengthened so that there is length in the spine, room for your breath. And then take your time when you're ready, cross through those ankles. So get anything out of your way. If you do have something, we're gonna be extending the legs out to the side on this one. You're gonna take your time and come into a tabletop position. So from here, palms are pressing evenly. You're gonna take your right leg and extend it out to the right. Now your heel should line up with your knee, but your toes should face the front edge of your mat, okay? So we're gonna lean forward, walk the hands slightly forward, and maybe even a fingertip grip is available and okay for you. You're gonna lean forward enough that you can tuck your left toes. As you exhale, you're gonna slowly, not as far as you can, just let the hips come heavy. And then we're gonna inhale, come forward, nice big breath in, open the chest. Exhale, and then bringing that weight back. 2 more, inhale. And then exhale. 1 more, inhale, opening that chest just a touch. As you exhale, this time we're gonna hold it here. Trying to be as light as you can into your fingertips, letting that head be heavy, and really noticing if the outer edge of your right foot is peeling up, that means we're collapsing here, we're losing that stretch. So we wanna feel the pinky side of your right foot rounding down in a way that's creating a little bit of space into that hip. Take 2 more deep breaths with me. One more here. Inhale, slowly take your time and then come forward, and we'll bring that right knee back. Really good, everyone. So just wiggle that out a little bit. That should feel nice. And then when you're ready, you're gonna take your left leg and extend it out in line with your right knee. So toes are facing forward to the top edge of your mat. Hands are gonna walk forward just enough that you can lean forward, tuck your right toes. As you exhale, you're gonna bring the weight back, letting those hips get heavy. And inhale, coming forward. So we're not going as deep as possible right now. It's kind of like DW40 for your hips. Just move slow. And we'll do 2 more like that. Inhale. Exhale. And then 1 more time, inhale. And exhale. This time we hold. So you might even get a little bit lighter into those fingertips, letting that head be heavy. And we're still breathing into the bottom of that right foot. But you'll notice the outer edge of my left foot is not peeling up. It's connected, creating space into that left hip for 3, 2, just 1 more breath. Now in your inhale, we'll slowly take your time coming forward, pressing through those palms. We'll bring that left knee back to center. So now from this position, you're gonna take your right foot forward in between your palms, walk it forward as much as you need until that knee stacks. And then you're gonna take your time and bring your hands to your hips. So you wanna make sure that that shin is straight up. So if you need to, take your hands down and just tuck that back foot, scooch back as far as you need until that knee stacks, okay? So this is all for the front of the hip. Square your body off, so we're not sinking into it, we're lifting out of it and creating that beautiful stretch through your psoas. Keep opening the chest, we're breathing here. And if it enhances that stretch, you're gonna reach those arms up for 3. Letting those shoulders relax down your back for 2. Just taking 1 more deep breath, lifting a little bit more. And then you're gonna let both your hands come down on the inside of the right leg. You're gonna walk that right foot out to the side. And then from that position, we're gonna find almost that fingertip grip again if that's there for you. As you inhale, we're gonna open and expand the chest. Now as you exhale, you're gonna drag the right foot up off the floor, the right toes, I should say. The heel will stay down. And then we're just gonna inhale and come forward. We're gonna move through that just a couple of times. As you exhale, bring the weight back. Inhale, coming forward, 2 more. Exhale, and the weight comes back. And 1 more time, inhale, open the chest. Exhale, and bring the weight back. Now last time you come forward, I'm gonna invite you to slowly walk your hands forward, being very mindful as you do it. Making sure that as you push into that left palm, you don't lean into it, okay? That's what that would look like. So you're gonna push down, plug the shoulder down your back, ribs in, and right hand comes on the inside. So it's just as strong as if you were doing a plank. That's really important, okay? So big breath in, lengthen. Now, you're pushing into the top of the left foot. You're gonna open that right knee, and I want you to imagine there's a string lifting you from the center of the chest, and that is gonna get you into such a beautiful stretch into that left hip. So you're gonna feel some work into this right hip, yeah? But I want this all to be for the front of your left hip, okay? So take 2 more deep breaths. That's the most important area, in my opinion, that any body should open up. 1 more deep breath. And then slowly we're taking our right hand back down. So we're gonna just slowly take our time. Let's tuck the left toes underneath. And then I'm gonna get you to come into a downward facing dog from there. So just pedal out your feet a couple times. Feel the difference between the left and the right. And then let's go ahead, inhale, left leg is gonna lift up, bend the knee, and we'll just step that right in between the palms. So we're relaxing the back knee down. We're gonna check that alignment. I don't have quite enough room because my hips are quite tight, believe it or not. So if you're like me, you're gonna have to walk that foot forward. It's no problem, okay? Make sure that knee stacks. As you inhale, come all the way up. And then from that position, you're gonna bring your hands to your hips. So we lift up nice and tall. Shoulders come down our back. and then we hinge forward. So again, we don't want to sink into it. We're lifting out of it, and right away, if you didn't see it in my face, it's a humongous difference in the way I feel that through the front of my right hip. If it enhances the ability to feel it deeper, reach your arms up, but melt your shoulders down. Let go of any clenching that may want to come along with this, and we'll take 3 more breaths. 2, and 1 more deep breath. Slowly taking your time, bringing the hands down on the inside, and then we walk that left foot out to the side. So ideally, we find the tips of the fingers there. Big breath in, inhale, heart opens. Exhale, bring the weight back, the left toes lift. Inhale, we slowly come forward, open the chest. Exhale, and we drag the weight back. Inhale, slowly come forward. Exhale, and we bring the weight back. Inhale. Now hold here. Walk your right palm slightly forward. Left hand comes on the inside of the knee. Now we're gonna inhale again, don't sink. You should feel with both your hands the same opening across the chest as you would in a plank, okay? Push that left knee out. Now the inside of the foot can lift. I didn't touch on that on the other side, but you don't want your ankle to sickle, okay? So the angle of your ankle should stay the same as you open it up. If you feel that collapse, then you know you're not in a good place for that ankle. So let's inhale, open the chest. Again, imagine lifting and opening, and that's gonna get you deeper into the front of that right hip, finding that beautiful, maybe not so sweet spot for us. Take 1 more deep breath. And then slowly take your time, left hand back down. Now inhale here. This time I'm gonna get you to just slide that left knee back. We'll find our wide-legged child's pose with the big toes together and then the knees wide. Now let your hips just soften gently side to side. And then allow yourself to settle in here. We'll take 5 deep breaths, lengthening on the inhale. And softening a little bit more as you exhale. 1 more deep breath. Now on your next inhale, we're gonna slowly lift ourselves up. Now you're going to adjust so that your heels come to one side. Now this is really important as we find our way into seated. This can be a little bit intense. So know that you can always come to your traditional runner stretch if hero feels a little bit too much, but a block can be really nice here in this position. So what you're going to do is have your block handy to that right side, and then what you're going to do is bend into your left knee. You're going to lean into that right side, grab the top of your left ankle. As you bring the top of your left foot, you want that quite close to your heel. So here's where it gets tricky. Some of us, this might not even be a possibility at this time. The quads might be so tight, and that's totally fine. Again, come back to that traditional runner stretch, but I promise you some fancier options as we do it. So one nice option is to sit that opposite hip up onto a block, and then that can take some pressure off. So that could be one option. If you're feeling good here and you can breathe and smile and mean it, then you can start to take your time and actually walk the hands back. So the further you go back, the further you're gonna feel that stretch through the front of the thigh. Now, if you're like me and you practice a lot of yoga, you might actually find you can get your elbows down, but what is not okay is if you're finding your knee starting to lift, not in any way. You just take your time and come back up, and you might find you're somewhere in between. That's totally fine, but make sure everything, again, is all about being plugged in. So I understand this is not a very comfortable position. We'll hold here for about 3 more deep breaths. We are almost there, everyone. Now very gently push into the top of your foot, and you'll feel the change in the way you feel that stretch. We're taking 1 more here. And then we're gonna slowly take your time and just press through the palms and then lift yourself all the way up. So you're gonna lean over into that right side, and then we're gonna place that foot left flat again. So first, before you do anything with that left foot, you're gonna take your right leg in line with your left hip. Now we're gonna grab that left leg and we're gonna rock it a couple of times. Now I know this is probably gonna be met with lots of resistance here too. So when you bring your foot down to the floor, ideally our knees stack, and that happens after some time. So don't worry if your knee is up here, that's okay as long as your hips are level. But know that this is another really great option to come up onto a block and give yourself a little bit more space. So don't worry how high the knee is coming. What matters is that your legs are, or hips, excuse me, are level with one another. Nice big deep breath in, inhale, lift the heart. If we have that room and freedom in our body, we're gonna start to walk the hands forward. Now tuck the chin towards the chest. Even here, I want you to think of that magnetization between your big toe and your sternum. And you'll notice a way different stretch. Even push into the outer edge of your left foot gently. And relax a little more as you exhale. One more deep breath. And then you're gonna inhale and slowly come all the way up. Really good, everyone. So we'll balance that out on the other side. So if you are sitting up on a block, you can go ahead and get that out of your way. So left leg is straight forward. We'll find that half hero's pose as we grab the top of the ankle, and then from there, top of the foot rests beside. So you wanna make sure, sometimes it's even nice to kind of move that calf muscle away. I'm sure you have some strong calf muscles in this group. So move that away, sit up nice and tall. Remember your block can go underneath that left hip. If it feels good, this might be your posture right here, or you might actually find you can lean back a little bit. You might find you can come right down onto the elbows, but I don't want you lifting your hip to get there. I want your hips level, and again, most importantly, you should not feel a stretch in your knee here, okay? We're stretching our quadriceps, your knees don't go that way. So it's really important that we honor our body, because some bodies are just not designed to go in this direction. So it's not a bad thing. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your knees. It just means that we need to stretch differently. It's perfectly fine. Take one more deep breath. And then slowly take your time. We'll push ourselves all the way up. So leaning into that left hip, you'll plant your right foot flat. Let's bring it a little wider just to give yourself some room for that switch. Your left heel comes in line with the right hip. So we grab that left with the left hand, excuse me. You grab your right foot, and then you pull that across, and we sit up nice and tall. So nice big inhale, big breath in. And then you're gonna take your time and then walk your hands forwards. Letting that head get heavy, knowing that this is just an option to go further. Remember, we wanna be finding a slight hesitation with the breath, but then working through that to soften and let go of that really clenchy state we often tend to catapult towards. Let's take one more deep breath. And then on your inhale, we're gonna slowly come all the way up. So from here, I'm gonna get you to take one more pose with me, taking that nice wide stance. Now it's nice to give yourself a little bit of a hike up here. Also another nice one to sit up on the block. And you might find that your hands need to be behind your back. Now, this might not be an option for you, and I understand that, so know that you can be here with your feet flat, or you can even have a little pillow or block underneath the backs of the knees. That's a nice way to let go of that and allow some of that hamstring tension to pull you, or to relieve some of it, I should say. So let's inhale, lift up nice and tall. As we exhale, we might even hinge forward. But again, this action of bringing your hands forward might cause you to lean back. So I only want you to do it if you can maintain that length. Legs are active. We're breathing deeply here. And you're gonna lengthen through the spine as you breathe in. And as you exhale, breathe out. Let your head become a little heavier. Inhale, lengthen your spine a little more. Exhale, go a little bit deeper. 2 more deep breaths. And 1 more here. And then you're gonna take your time, and then we're gonna slowly roll ourselves all the way up. And then from here, you're gonna take your time bringing your hands behind your back. So one more time, go ahead with that nice wide stance for me. Go knees side to side, lifting through the chest. And then this time now, what you're gonna do is just go ahead, once you balance that out, we are going to come into one last position here, scooching the hips forward. The arms are gonna reach straight ahead, taking a nice big deep breath in, inhale, and then you're gonna lower yourself down to the floor. One vertebra at a time, breathing deeply here. Now, once you're down onto the floor, you can either bend into your knees, having the feet flat, or this is if you're gonna feel any tension or tightness in your low back, you can go ahead, if you don't, and straighten the legs. Now, palms are gonna flip up. All we're gonna do is take just a few breaths here together. So I want you to close your eyes. Let the muscles in your face literally melt down. And just take a nice big deep breath in. Big breath out. And I understand that this is probably the most challenging position, so just lay here and be still. But if you have the urge and craving to move, then that means you need this even more. So just allow yourself to focus fully on your breath for 3 more like this. Where do you feel your body moving? Start to feel that 3-dimensional expansion. One more breath. And once you've exhaled out all the air, take your time and bring a little bit of movement back. Perhaps taking one more nice long deep stretch as your arms reach back, legs come together, reaching forward, and then we'll go ahead and just hug those knees in towards your chest. Now go ahead, relax those feet down to the floor. You can curl over onto your side. Use that top hand as support to just push yourself up. Well, there you have it, my friends. Another yoga for runners in the books. So, most important that you keep up with this, and I cannot stress this enough because, again, running is so hard on your body. So not that I'm saying it's a bad thing. I think it's amazing, and I actually really enjoy it. So don't take that as a bad thing. What is very important, though, is that you are extra careful with how you nourish your body after. So my point with that is when you're in these positions and you're feeling maybe a little bit frustrated, just own the fact that you're a runner, and that's okay. So it's gonna mean you're a little bit extra tight. So own the strength and just be open to that grace. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you for our full restore practice for you. Namaste.